welcome. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for coming out tonight. It's a miserable, miserable night. And it's a miserable subject. I mean, seriously. I get to talk about two things, torture and solitary confinement in U.S. prisons. And it's usually hard to get people out to talk about these topics because they're not something that you want to talk about, really. So I'm very appreciative that you come out tonight. I want to first of all just give you a little background on the National Religious Campaign Against Torture. We're a national organization with 340 religious organizations representing all the major faith groups, basically. The Southern Baptists and the Mormons have not joined us yet, but we have the national denominations and national religious organizations, and we also have individual congregations who are members. We started in 2006 when George Hunsinger, whom you saw on the video, who was a professor of religion and philosophy at Princeton, called a number of major religious leaders together in Princeton to respond to the torture program under the Bush administration. And that was the birth of the National Religious Campaign Against Torture. I jumped in because in December of 2005, I decided I couldn't not make a physical statement against torture because I was shocked that the president hadn't responded to Abu Ghraib, the Congress hadn't responded to Abu Ghraib. So I don't know if you ever go up Massachusetts Avenue by the vice president's house, but there's a gentleman out there who holds this pedophilia sign in front of the Catholic Vatican. The Vatican embassy is there. And I thought, you know, if he does that for pedophilia, I could do that for torture. It'd be right across from Cheney's house. So I started talking about it with some people in my church, which is the River Road Unitarian Universalist Congregation. They said, yeah, I want to do that too. So people who'd never demonstrated or done anything like that before, we all went down and started holding vigils every Wednesday night outside Cheney's house. And then we ended up getting Presbyterians and Catholics and Jews, and everybody started to join us. And so for about 8 to 10 weeks, we held vigils out there against torture with big banners, you know, Jesus wouldn't torture, and America, it's un-American. So as a result of that, I ended up getting involved in the National Religious Campaign Against Torture when it started. So we now have 8 staff people. We have Washington offices. We do a lot of lobbying. We do a lot of advocacy. And we also do a lot of program work at the state and congregational level. Our number one priority is to get a commission of inquiry to expose everything there is to know about what we did with 9/11 detainees and to hold ourselves accountable. So that's our number one priority. The best option we have for that right now is the Senate Intelligence Committee, which has done a 3-year investigation into the torture program and come out with a bipartisan 6,000-page document that apparently, according to those people who have seen it, is very thorough and very compelling and speaks to how damaging the torture program was. What we're trying to do now, it's been voted on and supported by the committee. We're trying to get that released to the public. There's a big push on the CIA's side to keep it confidential and classified, and we're trying to get the committee to work really, really hard to make that public so everybody can know what was in it. Just 2 other things we do, just as an aside, is we do work. We decided that we wanted to stop all U.S.-sponsored torture and realized that we had to focus also on the use of solitary confinement in U.S. prisons. There's no other country that uses prolonged solitary confinement like the United States of America. And so we've got a whole program going on that. And the third thing we're doing is we are working on anti-Muslim bigotry and worked with a number of groups to form a group called Shoulder to Shoulder, which tries to work on anti-Muslim bigotry. So that's kind of who we are as an organization. So why are